Alright, it only took a year, but I'm finally getting around to doing it. The Seamstress Tag. Isabelle of the Fluffy Fibers podcast tagged me over a year ago, and I'm so sorry it took me so long to get around to doing it, but I'm finally doing it. In a nutshell, the Seamstress Tag are 12 questions that ask you about your sewing journey. Any YouTuber partaking in the Seamstress Tag, after they're done answering the questions, they go ahead and tag other sewists in the YouTube world. Anyway, Isabelle of the Fluffy Fibers podcast tagged me over a year ago, and I will pop a link to her YouTube channel in the show notes below in the description box. Finally getting around to recording my Seamstress Tag video, so let's get into it. Question number 1, who are you? Hi, I'm Kristen, also known as Voolenvine here on YouTube and on Instagram where I'm most active, and on Ravelry and pretty much everywhere else on the web. I was born in Brooklyn and I currently live here in Bushwick, Brooklyn to be exact, with my husband Dennis and our adorable cat Bella, who may or may not make an appearance at some point in this video. It's a surprise. I am primarily a knitter with a capital K. I am a sewist. I am an aspiring photographer. I'm also the indie dyer behind Voolenvine Yarns, which is my hand-dyed yarn company. I have the YarnGasm podcast, which this video is kind of an offshoot of. I'm one of those people that has to constantly create to feel happy. Question number 2, when and why did you start sewing? I believe I started sewing in the summer of 2015 or 2016, so I've been sewing for a little bit now. Started sewing because I just got fed up with not being able to find anything in ready-to-wear shops such as like H&M, Zara, Forever 21. Those used to be my go-to places, but as, I don't know, styles progressed and everything, I really didn't like the way that clothes were fitting on me or looking on me, and you know, skirts were too really short, and I prefer skirts to be below the knee or at the knee, so I really wasn't liking what I was seeing or how fashions were making me feel, so I decided to take the bull by the horns and dive into sewing head first because it's something that I've always wanted to do but never felt confident to do. It felt like such a huge learning curve, but that summer I just remember, no, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna learn how to do this, and I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna make my own clothes. My wardrobe isn't 100% handmade at this point. I don't intend, it's not a goal of mine to have 100% handmade wardrobe, although it would be lovely. I still purchase a lot of basics from ready-to-wear shops, such as like leggings and, you know, undergarments, and you know, if there's a dress that I happen to see that I really like, I will buy it, you know, but I have to say that my shopping from ready-to-wear stores has decreased significantly since I started sewing, and it makes me so happy. Question number 3, what is your favorite or proudest make? I would have to go with my seafoam lace dress. I will say I rarely wear this dress. I've probably only worn it once, but I'm so proud of it because it is the most involved pattern that I've ever sewn. And this was a pattern by Gertie, who's Gretchen Hirsch. It's a pattern from her Ultimate Dress book, which is a great book, perfect for beginners, especially if you love retro styles or fashions. She's the queen of retro sewing, if that's your thing. And what I really love about this book is that it pretty much holds your hand as you're sewing a pattern, and she walks you through everything step by step, and it just made the sewing process of what would seem like a really complicated dress a breeze. And I'm really proud of that make because it was just so incredibly involved. It has a fully boned bodice, so it gives the bodice a lot of structure, and because it was my first time sewing with lace fabric, which is, I want to say, not as complicated as sewing with shears, but at the same time, you have to be, you know, very careful and mindful. It's like, you know, creating an overlay over the underlining, harvesting the lace scallops at the edge of the lace fabric. So yeah, it was just a really awesome experience to follow that project through and have a really lovely product at the end. Granted, I wish I would get more wear out of it. It is seafoam, not really my color, but at the end of the day, I kind of look at it as a work of art. Hopefully there'll be like a wedding or an event that's coming up where I can actually wear it. Question number 4, what is your most disastrous make? Oh my god, I have so many disastrous makes. It is quite ridiculous. Unpopular opinion, Tilly and the Button patterns, I'm pretty sure that I've kind of It's nothing against Tilly and her patterns. I think they're very well written and her fashions are really adorable and cute, and they have like this really cool kind of like 60s retro vibe to them. I believe I've tried sewing maybe 4 of her patterns. I know the Fifi pajamas, the Agnes top, recently the Coco dress, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but for some reason her patterns and me just don't click. They never pan out. Either the fit's off or I just totally fudge it up. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. Again, nothing against Tilly patterns. I think they're adorable. I think they're sweet. I think that her patterns are incredibly well written and descriptive, and yeah, nothing bad to say. Her patterns and myself just don't mesh, and that's okay. First of all, I don't think me and the 60s really jive anyway, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of done with Tilly patterns, and I'll talk about over the weekend. My most recent disastrous make was the Coco dress, and I wouldn't say this is disastrous, but it was my first time sewing with stripes, and I will say getting stripes to line up with each other is not easy. It's a little bit of a headache. So as you can see here, the stripes aren't aligning perfectly, and then at this point I was like, you know what? Done is better than perfect. So I just said to hell, I'm not gonna care if they line up or not, I'm just gonna get the thing done. And then of course, that is when the stripes start to align. Newton's law, my friends. I don't know how this works out. But anyway, so I got most of it done. All that's left to do of this dress is the hemming, but I tried it on and it just doesn't look right on me. I don't feel comfortable in it. I don't feel confident in it. There's just a little too much ease in this for me. Again, super simple pattern, very well written. It's just not for me. The first time that I sewed the neckline, I fudged the seam allowance on here, had to pick back and then do it again. And then of course, like halfway doing the zigzag stitch on the neckline, I ran out of thread, had to unpick that and do it again. It's like the stars and planets just don't align when I sew a Tilly pattern. So, question number 5, where's your favorite place to go fabric shopping? Because I am a self-professed homebody, I prefer to do my fabric shopping online. My go-to site is fabric.com. I know there are many other avenues to do fabric shopping. I receive a lot of suggestions and everything, but for some reason fabric.com is just the easiest place for me to go. However, if I do go to a place in person, my go-to fabric shop is Brooklyn General. First of all, I love Brooklyn General. They're my favorite LYS. I love their aesthetic. I love what they're all about, and they have an amazing fabric selection. I don't know I think I need a better bra. My strap keeps slipping down, so I'm sorry if I'm giving you a bra strap show. This is the Q dress by Nina Lee Patterns, and it has the cold shoulder detail going down, so I'm not used to wearing cold shoulder styles. I constantly feel like my bra strap is falling down, and when it actually falls down, I try to ignore it because I think it's just, oh, that's just the style. It feels like your bra strap's falling down. Anyway, I love this dress, love the pattern, highly recommend it. But yeah, it takes a little bit of getting used to wearing, but I love it. I wear this dress all the time. Question number 6, what is your most used pattern? I am definitely a creature of habit, so I have no problem going back to patterns that I love sewing, that turned out great. I'm all for the whole uniform effect where it's like if a pattern or style works, make it a million times. So I would say that my most sewn pattern is the Lady Skater dress by Kichiku. That is like during fall, winter, that is my go-to uniform. I have maybe like 5 incarnations of that dress. It is so comfortable, it's so versatile, you can just chuck it over a pair of leggings and boots, and I could make 20 versions of this dress, and I have plans to make 2 more this fall. So Lady Skater dress by Kichiku Patterns, highly recommended. The other pattern that I've been making a lot lately is the Gertie B6543 pattern. And yeah, I have 3 versions of that dress, and I can make 5-10 more of those easily. Again, another versatile pattern. It is a just spaghetti strap, princess seamed bodice with a gathered skirt. A very classic style. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but for me, that is like my ideal silhouette, especially because, you know, I might look thin up here, but I'm very self-conscious about, you know, my lower half. It's a problem area for me, so I like wearing skirts that kind of flounce out a little bit, so I feel most comfortable and confident in those styles. That pattern is definitely one of my go-tos. Number 7, my most dreaded sewing task. Oh my goodness. Unpicking zigzag stitches is a bitch. I am not gonna lie, I hate unpicking zigzag stitches. And I had to do a lot of that in the Coco dress that I just showed you. It is not fun, it is a nightmare. So I do not wish unpicking zigzag stitches on anyone. It is just not fun. Number 8, your favorite sewing task. Believe it or not, I actually really love setting in sleeves. For some reason, I think it just completes the puzzle and everything comes full circle, and it's that, yes, I sewed everything correctly and everything matches up. It doesn't always work out that way, and when it doesn't work out that way, I will admit it's my least favorite sewing task, but when it all comes together and just perfectly, and you have that nice clean finish on the shoulders, there's nothing like it. It's just so wonderful. So yeah, setting in sleeves, I don't know how popular of an opinion that is, but that's my personal brand of crazy. Number 9, what is your favorite sewing entertainment? I prefer to listen to audiobooks or audio podcasts while I sew. My attention has to be focused on what I'm doing, otherwise I'm just gonna mess everything up. I find that I watch more video podcasts lately, but when I'm sewing, I find it a really good time to catch up on some of my favorite audio podcasts. Number 10, printed or PDF? I'm gonna say printed. I really don't enjoy printing out multiple pages of paper and then having to piece them all together and then cutting them out and then throwing away all those scraps of paper. While I appreciate PDF patterns and I download them all the time and do it all the time, I just can't help but feel that it is a little wasteful to throw away all those scraps. But again, that's what recycling is for. So, you know, there's that. And then it's just a lot more work, but I guess that's the price you pay when you want instant gratification. Am I right? PDFs are amazing, especially if you don't have easy access to those patterns per se, especially a lot of indie designers. So PDF patterns are wonderful for that, and they are, I will say, a little bit more affordable. You know, there are pluses and minuses when it comes to PDF and printed patterns, but my preference are printed patterns. So plus it makes for a nice keepsake. They come in a nice envelope and, you know, easy storage. PDF patterns I find are a little bit more, they're not difficult to store. I usually get those gallon Ziploc bags and I put my PDF patterns into those and I just label them with a permanent marker. So, but yeah, if I had to choose, I would say printed pattern. What sewing machine do you use? I use a Janome New Home 2212, and I did a video on this, and I'll pop a link to it up here if you want to hear all about my sewing machine. I won't say this is my first sewing machine, but this is my first dedicated sewing machine. I had a Quilter Confidence sewing machine by Singer a while back, but I destashed that. I did not jive with that machine whatsoever. But this one, I took a gamble. I did some research online, I read some reviews, and it just seemed like the machine for me, and I lucked out. Ideally, you're supposed to go to a dealer, test out a whole bunch of machines and find the one that's right for you, but I took a risk and thankfully it worked out because I love this machine. I think it's perfect for beginners. I think it's perfect for any sewist of any level because it doesn't do anything fancy other than a straight stitch, zigzag stitch, can make buttonholes, but that's honestly all you really need to get started sewing and grow as a sewist. This definitely has grown with me, and I don't foresee myself getting a new machine anytime in the near future. So yeah, Janome New Home 2212, highly recommend it for beginners and sewists of any level. Last question. Question number 12. Do you have any other hobbies? I have to say that I am first and foremost a knitter. Knitter with a capital K. I'm a yarn dyer. I love to knit. I knit all the time in my spare time whenever I have a chance. It is my lifestyle, so I can't really classify that as a hobby. Sewing has easily become a lifestyle as well, and I'm so excited about that. But other, I would say, hobbies, spinning, because I do enjoy spinning from time to time, either on a drop spindle or a wheel. I don't know if you can see it, you probably can't, but I have my Lendrum spinning wheel in the back over there. And I also have been dabbling in weaving. I have a rigid head loom, 2 rigid head looms, a 10-inch and a 16-inch, you know, to weave fabrics of different lengths. And I do dabble in embroidery, but very rarely. I would say most recently, at this point I would classify it as a hobby, but I'm definitely aiming to turn it into something more, but photography and videography. So I'm diving full on into that rabbit hole, taking photographs, doing more video for the channel. I did go to school for film and video, but I just kind of fell out of love with the whole aspect of it. I recently just fell back in love with it and want to up my game a little bit when it comes to photography and video. So that is what's going on right now as far as hobbies are concerned. But yeah, otherwise, that is it. Those are my other hobbies. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much again to Isabelle for tagging me in the Seamstress tag. And that leads me to tagging some other sewing friends. And so I tag Emily of Slow Fashion Rebel and Lara of the Dyer's Notebook podcast. No pressure, guys, no pressure. And if any of you feel inspired to create your own Seamstress tag video, please, by all means, go for it. I don't need to tag you. You don't need to be tagged by me. If you do upload your own video, feel free to tag me on Instagram. I would love to hear your answers to the Seamstress tag. Let's keep this thing going. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, if you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe below. And if you agree or disagree with some of my answers, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about like what your favorite and least favorite techniques are and the like. So anyway, that said, happy sewing, happy knitting, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye! What's your favorite dress? What's your favorite thing that I've sewn? Do you want me to sew you a dress? Does Kitty need a dress? I think she needs a dress.